pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, I'm going to ask the secretary for a roll call.
Well, I can see that Chairman Paul and Treasurer Stefan are here, and I'm here. And Frank Daly, our solicitor, is here. But Vincent and Francis are excused.
Okay. And we do have a quorum for today based on our membership. At this time, I will make a motion to approve the agenda. The agenda was available on the Delaware County website. We're having a minor downtime on our current website, so it was available. Are there any questions concerning the agenda before I ask for a second? Is there a second to approve the agenda?
Second.
All those in favor of the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Motion carried. At this time, we will open the agenda up for public comment. If there's any public comment concerning the agenda. Okay, no comment from the public. All of you should have received the minutes of the December 2022 DeSigra meeting, provided expeditiously by our secretary, Ron Evans, shortly after that meeting. Do I have a second to approve those minutes? I make the motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second to approve those minutes?
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions, comments? All those in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against, abstain, minutes approved. At this time, I will turn it over to the treasurer, and he is entitled to make the motions if he so desires.
I so like the way you do it. And the January 2022 Treasurer's Report is as follows from our December 31st closing statement. We have an opening balance of $126,553.86. We earned a whopping $4.75 in interest. Checks cleared totaled $27,549.67. The ending balance on the statement on December 31st, $99,008.94. As of the time of the printing of this report, which was January 18th, the balance in the account is $81,912.44. There's a section here on the report of all the cleared checks. We have one outstanding check, and unfortunately, it's outstanding because of me not noticing that the bill for 20th First Century Media, the Daily Times, was an attachment on an email I received. So after digging and finding it, that check went in the mail a couple days ago.
Any questions for Stefan? I have a question. 21st Century Media, the only way that we can pay is via check? Do you know if that's the only way that we can pay?
As opposed to automatic payment or?
Yeah, I don't know if we can pay online or we can pay via direct debit or.
Well, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, that bill actually comes to my office. It is on my account.
Okay.
And I have you pay it directly, but the treasurer and I make sure that all the information about the account number, et cetera, is there.
Okay.
So I'm not sure we could arrange something that would be that direct, that when the bill is in my name.
Should we establish our own account, or is it more convenient and fine if it's directed towards you on behalf of us?
We don't do it that often,
Okay.
and I'm not sure they would do an account that only has a couple things a year.
Okay, yeah, because it's only the meeting schedule and a handful of grants per year.
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So I'll just add a couple comments.
Sure.
I did submit the updated change of address for you, Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you.
And I also sent along, I forget the exact name, but the tax document. The document to designate us
Sales tax.
sales tax.
Oh, good, good,
Yes.
good.
So what? I don't know if this is the right time to ask the question. What should we expect from that? Moving forward, we won't be taxed, or would they reimburse us for taxes paid from our existence?
I can contact them and indicate that we've been this way from the beginning and they should refund.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the January 2023 Treasurers Report. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstain, motion carried. You can proceed, Mr. Roots.
Times.
Oh,
Motion.
would you like me to do it?
Yeah, you do it. I
Okay.
love the way you do it.
I make a motion to approve a payment of Daily Times invoice of $130.99, advertisement for the 2023 DeSigra meeting dates. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? Comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried. I make a motion to approve the payment of the Frank Daly invoice of $1,750 for fourth quarter 2022 solicitor services. Do I have a second? Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Abstain? Opposed? I make a motion to reimburse treasurer $501 for payment of website services via his credit card for December and January invoices of $150 each, and annual hosting invoice of $201. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a
Questions,
comment.
comments?
Yeah,
Yes,
comment.
thank
I do have the receipts of the invoice and the payments here, so
you. Okay.
if anybody wants to see.
This is 501, is that the sum of 150 and 201?
It's two $150 payments.
Okay, so it's a 300 and 201, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's been a slight interruption, and Stefan felt that it would be faster to pay via credit card, even though we authorize those payments by check. So he's going to use his personal funds to expedite that that process, and then we'll reimburse him. But going forward, and I don't have this on here, we'll have to probably discuss this at our next meeting, possibly paying this this payment on a semi-annual basis rather than on a monthly basis with a check of $150. Because right now he's having to mail this out 12 times a year.
Right.
So we're trying to see if we can consolidate that, but we'll discuss that at our next meeting. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Abstain? Against, I'm sorry, went in the wrong order. Motion approved. Any other comments or anything else, Mr. Treasurer? Mr. Roots?
Nope. No, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, at this time, all officers are vacated, and I turn the meeting over to our Solicitor Frank Daly to facilitate the reorganizational portion of our meeting.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the law requires that this board reorganize every year, and this has been advertised that it will be today. And the first motion is for nominations of an individual to serve for the next year in the office of Chair of the Authority. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Paul Johnson.
All right. Are there, you do not need a second for nomination of an officer. Is there anybody else to be nominated? All right, then I move that the nominations be closed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The nominations are now closed. We will now vote. The nominee for chair of the next year is Paul Johnson.
Wait, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm sorry. We do have a quorum of 3.
Yes.
But to facilitate the election, am I entitled to vote for myself?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
just so we
absolutely.
can proceed, because if I didn't vote, then we wouldn't have any officers, correct?
No, actually, we'd still have a quorum of, it would be a majority of the people who are here. It is a quorum.
Okay,
You would just be abstaining for your own
Okay,
personal
I
reasons.
recall my vote and abstain just for conflict of interest.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Johnson. You are re-elected chair for another year.
Thank you. Thank you to my fellow authority members. You can proceed with the other officers.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Sure.
Okay, sure. Do we have any nominations for the office of vice chair?
I'll nominate Francis Sheehan as vice chair.
Right, are there any other nominations? Hearing none, can I have a motion to close the nominations?
Motion.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Since the nominations are closed, we'll now vote. Francis Sheehan has been nominated to serve in the office of vice chair of the authority for the next year. All those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous, and those who are opposed, please vote no. There are none. So Francis is elected as vice chair for the next year. Next office treasurer. Do we have any?
Motion to nominate Stefan Roots as treasurer.
So moved. Any other nominations? Hearing none. A motion, could I have a motion to close nominations for treasurer?
Motion.
All right, and all those in favor of closing the nominations for treasurer, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Now we'll vote. Stefan Roots to serve as a treasurer for another year of the authority. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say no. The ayes have it, and Stefan is re-elected as treasurer. Next office is secretary. Do we have any nominations for the office of secretary?
I nominate Ron Evans as secretary.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close nominations for secretary.
Motion.
And all those in favor of closing nominations, please vote, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, nominations are closed. All those in favor of the appointment of Ron Evans as secretary for another year for the authority, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have, is there anybody opposed? No. So the ayes have it. You are re-elected, Mr. Evans. Congratulations. Do we have any other officers to
No,
elect?
just those
Okay.
four.
And that would be the reorganization.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Daly, for facilitating that. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Okay. We had an opportunity to evaluate the services of our professional services. Based on that evaluation, I have some motions for some of those professional services. So I would like to make a motion to reappoint Daly Law Firm as our solicitor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? I'll just make a comment. We are pretty much unanimously satisfied with the services from Frank Daly and his law firm, and he's represented as well. And he does it at a reasonable cost to the authority, which we appreciate it. All those in favor of reappointing Daly Law Firm as our solicitor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Congratulations.
Thank you. I am appreciative.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Barbara Kane Thornton as our auditor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried. Make a motion to renew our annual contract with Course Vector for our web services. Do I have a second? Questions, comments? Mr. Roots, any comments?
No comments. I'm sorry.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? I say aye too. Motion carried. Okay. At this time, we'll move on to our solicitor's report if he has anything to report.
I don't have anything to add, but I will point out that I'm expecting to receive any day now the fourth quarter payment. And of course, as soon as I get that email, I send it out to everybody on the board. And to make a bad pun, I'm betting that it's going to be the largest that we've ever had.
Okay.
In fact, I'm going to predict over $100,000.
Wow, okay.
We'll see how good a predictor or better I am.
Okay. Well, thank you. We hope we have good news. Thank you. All right, at this time, we'll move on to old business. The first item is the Emergency Services Grant Round 2 update. And I'm the one that pretty much facilitates that grant. Unfortunately, I only have one grant of one of our municipal emergency services on tap for our discussion or our consideration today from the fourth quarter. However, the second round still went relatively well, just not as robust as the first round. And we did discuss informally providing the balance of that fund to a organization that services municipal entities, emergency services entities in the county, as well as their victims. So I'll provide more update on that when we get to those motions. That concludes my update. Any questions or comments for me? All right, the 2022 Arts and Culture Fund. I'll turn it over to Ron if he has any general comments before we get to the individual motions.
Well, we're bumping up against our limit of $80,000, but yeah, I guess that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Ron? All right, so this is going to be a little complicated, but we'll either proceed or maybe we may table something. We'll see how it goes. There are motions for the 2022 Arts and Culture Grants. We previously approved $74,336 of them so far. These are awarded on a rolling basis up to $80,000 for the entire fund. So we have, I believe we're in consensus on one of the grants, so I will go with that one first and see if we can have a majority rule on that one. So I make a motion to approve a $2,500 grant for Chester Housing Initiatives, Inc., subject to county council approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
So that's the formal name of our Chester Housing Authority? Is that how they're?
It's not the authority. This is a different entity. It's not the authority. It's a separate nonprofit from the authority based on the application that we reviewed. But it supports, from what I read, it supports these arts activities to the Chester Housing Authority properties and low-income residents in Chester County, Chester City.
Okay, so they just may be the company formed to do these services on behalf of the Chester Housing Authority.
I don't know if they have a formal relationship. When you say on behalf, I don't think it's on behalf. I think it's to Chester Housing Authority and other low-income residents in Chester City, the city of Chester, I'm sorry.
I mean, I actually participate in some of their activities, so maybe because they open it up to the entire community and not just residents of the housing authority, they had to maybe
Create a separate 501c.
That answers my question.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying from when I looked at when I looked at the application, that was kind of the indication that I got when I was reading it. Okay. Any other questions or comments on this specific motion? All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried. Now, this is where we get into a little challenge. So we have two motions for Musicopia. We have a motion to increase the Arts and Culture Fund to a higher amount. And then we have a motion to approve an additional grant to Greater Philadelphia Cultural Alliance to promote Delco Arts Week 2023. So I'm going to stay quiet and I'll let other people make the motions on these amounts.
So my thinking was, we're bumping up against the $80,000 limit, which you approved in a prior month. I was leaning toward suggesting that we make the full request to Musicopia of 6,100. And I guess in conjunction with that, bump up the $80,000 limit to 82,936, which would, accommodate the amount overage. I guess, did other people feel like we should not do that and we should honor the $80,000 limit? And
Yeah,
I guess the 3,164 takes us up to and not exceeding the 80,000.
correct. Yeah. So I'll give you my feedback on this, and I think I'm willing to be flexible. I just have some concern because we went over, and it was everybody here on the board. We went over on the next gen grants. And I think we made a commitment to try and stay within our allocated budget. The emergency services grant, we went slightly over for the first round, but when we combine the two rounds, we're going to be right at $100,000. So I was just trying to stay on that track by making the motion for the 3,164 in addition to for Musicopia, in addition to the Chester housing initiatives that would keep us right at $80,000. So I was just trying to keep us disciplined with that. And I think it's, it's more than slightly more than half of what they requested. But I would be amenable to going over slightly to the 82,936, but I just want to be cautious about what we allocate and then what we actually fund when our funding is more than what we allocate. So I don't know if Stefan wants to weigh in here or.
Yeah, a little bit. I just didn't understand what the difference was. I mean, it seemed to be two different programs, but they're run by the same board of directors.
Oh, no. So there was another grant that was on the list that was from the same or similar board of directors doing a similar service. And they had requested a grant, but nobody on this committee made a motion to move that one forward. So there was consensus among several people on this authority to move Musicopia forward, just at different amounts. So I'll be transparent. I said the 3,164 because when we add that to the 2,500, that gets us to $80,000. Ron suggested we do the 6,100 because that's what we requested. That would get us up to 82,936.
So it's the same organization.
Gotcha.
It's
We're just
either-
choosing
either
between the
thing.
two.
Yeah, we're not gonna do 6,100 and the
Okay,
6,164.
I gotcha.
Right, but I do want to say there was another group that I understand what you're saying, Stefan. There was another group that applied that has a similar or some type of relationship with Musicopia. It was a dance
Right.
organization, and that grant didn't come forward to be motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Thanks.
Do you have any comment on either of these, the philosophy in the two numbers? The two funding amounts?
I don't.
Okay,
I really don't. But I understand them now.
all right. I'm going to. Can I table my motion? Do I have to make the motion and table it?
Yes.
I make a motion, or it could not be, or there cannot be a second.
Correct.
Okay. I make a motion to approve $3,164 grant for Musicopia subject to county council approval. Do I have a second? Motion dies.
Correct.
I make a motion to approve 6,000. I'll make the motion to approve the $6,100 grant for Musicopia subject to county council approval. Do I have a second?
Well, I'll second that, but shouldn't that be kind of in conjunction with the other motion to raise the limit?
I'm going to do that after this one.
Okay, so we'll do.
Or do you think I should do the other one first?
Well, It doesn't matter. I'll second the motion.
Say that again.
Raise the limit first, because otherwise.
I withdraw my motion for $6,100 grant. I make a motion to approve increase to the Arts and Culture Fund to $82,936 to fully fund higher grant motions listed above. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? I'm just want to be cautious about this going forward. I think we all have very compassionate hearts and we want to serve everybody. And I think maybe we'll have some better than anticipated revenues this year, but I just want to be cautious of staying within those guidelines. So I just ask that we try and be a little bit more disciplined in the future, but that's all I have to say about my comment. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried. Okay, now we'll make a motion to approve $6,100 grant for Musicopia subject to county council approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried. I'll make the motion to approve $5,000 grant to Greater Philadelphia Cultural Alliance to promote Delco Arts Week 2023, subject to county council approval. Do I have a second?
So this is independent of the arts and cultural grants. This is just a ad hoc grant.
Well, let me get a second first so that we could discuss it. Or can we have discussion before the second?
The motion has to have a second or it dies.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Now you can comment.
Well, yeah, so we've just hit our limit on arts and culture, but under the agenda, it looks like it's under arts and culture. So it seems like we can make it independent of arts and culture, or we could raise the limit on arts and culture another 5,000.
The idea was originally if there were remaining funds in the arts and cultural fund, because it looks like it initially looked like it was going to be slow and we were going to have maybe some funding remaining, that the balance of that funding would go to this the Greater Philadelphia Cultural Alliance. So that was the initial intent. Then we got these other grants and there wasn't that balance. And then there was a suggestion in the spreadsheet that you provided for a motion for this. So it would be above and beyond our new allocation. It would be a separate grant.
Independent of the arts and culture.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree with that.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Saying just on that vein, like I said, I was for this if we had remaining funding from that grant from that grant fund, but I am not in favor of this as a separate item at this time, since we don't have a balance of that grant.
Would say that again?
I was for some support to the Greater Philadelphia Cultural Alliance if we had a remaining balance. But since we don't have a remaining balance, I'm not in favor of this grant, since we matched that allocation and we've exceeded that allocation. So I'm not in favor of this as a separate grant. I'm just making a comment.
But you made the motion.
I made the motion from the as the agenda was being, I made the motion to facilitate the meeting, but I'm not supportive of this grant.
Oh.
Yeah. And I made the motion based on input from our authority members. So, you know, I'm just leaving the comments available for everyone to make a comment. So, any other comments or questions? All those in favor of this motion for a $5,000 grant to Greater Philadelphia Cultural Alliance to promote Delco Arts Week 2023, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Aye. Abstain? Motion carried.
Yes.
That motion carries based on the people that are here, correct?
Correct.
Okay, motion carried. We are a board. We are a functioning board.
Yes.
We're not monolithic. Okay,
Mr. Chair, I have to take a brief break. I'll be right back.
Sure,
You
sure.
can Go ahead.
Thank
and do
you.
The business.
all right. Thank you for everyone for their spirited discussion about that. We're not always going to be in agreement, but I think we all have the same mission and vision for this organization. The following motions are for 2022 grants for one emergency services organization in Delaware County and one organization that supports emergency services organizations in Delaware County via our emergency services grant second round for a total of $13,318.90 in December 22. This is a long run-on sentence with a focus on community outreach and or recruitment. This is in addition to the first round of this grant of $51,934.93 distributed, and second round of this grant of $34,746.17 awarded, includes $2,500 for City of Chester Bureau of Fire approved by DeSigra in November. So the first motion I make is to approve $1,680 grant for Prospect Park Fire Company number 1, subject to county council approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Abstained? I'm sorry, opposed? Motion carried. The next motion is to approve $11,638.90 grant to Salvation Army, specifically to support Delaware County Mobile Canteen Unit, subject to county council approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Questions or comments?
How'd we get this number so exact? I know it's left over from somewhere.
I believe this is the number. If it is wrong, we will hold I will hold presenting this to county council, but I believe that this number is correct.
But how was it?
I mean,
arrived
based
at?
on what?
Excuse me?
Based on what?
It's going to be uneven because so I'll put it this way. The grants that we've already approved before this meeting,
Mhm.
the Prospect Park grant and the Salvation Army grant add up to $100,000 total.
Okay.
For
That's
home emergency services. So it looks a little funny, but I believe this is the right number.
okay.
I'll double check it before I proceed to county council.
So this is the 100,000, the 50 and the 50. The 150 we had already gone over.
Correct. See where it says in the last sentence, the first round of this grant was $51,934.97. So the second round is going to add up to be some odd 17 cents or whatever. Yeah.
Oh.
It would be 100,000 minus $51,934.93.
Minus the 34, 736, 17,
Mine's a 1680.
minus the 1680.
Okay.
Okay.
I think. If it's wrong, I will hold off on county council to make sure.
I think the only thing that made it clearer is if we had mentioned the total amount of the loan, I mean, of the grant in
Right,
the
yeah.
preceding paragraph. You know,
Yeah.
Of the total 100,
Yeah.
100,000, 150.
100,000 total for emergency services.
Okay.
For the two rounds,
Right.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? I did reach out to EMS services here in the county. They were able to connect me with the Salvation Army executive that is in charge of this. And he said that he could allocate this specifically to any services or equipment that's used specifically in Delaware County. So it may be for a year, it may be for more than a year that they can continue to allocate and draw down on this funding. And I think it's a good idea because it supports our first responders and emergencies throughout the county. And it also helps people victimized in those emergencies as well, at least as an initial point of contact. That concludes my comments. Any other questions or comments?
Nah, I'm really happy that we can contribute to this.
Yeah.
That's,
All those in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstain, motion carried. All right, the next order of business. And we don't have the specific amount in there, so I think we just have the funding. Motion to establish next generation grant for up to $100,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? I believe our Vice Chair, Francis Sheehan, has proposed a tentative application, and we'll ask her to review that before we submit the language to Frank Daly, because I don't see we have a motion to advertise that in this agenda. So most likely that will have to wait until February, but we will, at least we are making the category within our annual budget for this funding, at least for this initial round. Any other questions or comments?
Nope.
So this is for an allocation of the budget, and we'll consider the advertising and more specifics and another
Okay,
meeting.
have a motion to advertise now, or is it do we have to wait till February? Right.
I think you can, voting to advertise is very benign.
Okay.
So I think you can do that.
Okay. All right, I'll do that in a second. So we'll vote on this grant first, and then I'll propose a motion for
And that makes sense.
authorizing the solicitor to advertise. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Abstain? Opposed? Motion carried. Mr. Roots?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I thought Ron had a question. Did you get your question answered, Ron?
Well, I guess you're saying that Francis will work out the details of what to be advertised.
I think we have initial details, which are pretty much the same as the last application. There was some discussion. I know I had a concern if we're doing grants of $10,000 and we have $100,000. The quantity of the organizations that we can impact seems limited to me.
And
So
also,
I was thinking if we went with a lower amount, that we could have more grant applications, but that was just a concern of mine. We haven't worked that out.
and how would that be worked out?
I think it is worked out because I didn't make a motion to change the constructs of the grant, and I don't think anyone else has.
So we're following the
We'll go
pattern
forward with what we
prior
had,
next
yeah.
generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless someone wants to.
Yeah.
Move to the next meeting that we discuss that, or if we
And
can
also-
proceed as is.
Also, I think there was a deadline of you couldn't get money from us if you'd just gotten a grant from us.
Within these 12 months or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think those are written into the application.
We're gonna stick with that again. If someone got something to say last summer, then that makes them ineligible.
I believe so. I can't recall. She provided a draft of the application. We reviewed it. Nobody
Okay,
objected to it, so
okay.
I mean, we can always change the application at a future meeting.
Yes. Revise it.
Yeah, but I think we have to proceed as is.
Okay.
I mean, if I don't have to make the motion to publish the announcement. We don't have to do that now. We can wait until February to give us some more time.
Well, I mean, I feel like we have what, $80,000 in the bank now and we're expecting another.
But we're about to spend some of it.
Yeah, that's true. We have just spent some of it. Okay, well. I'll defer to you. Wait until to
Mr. Roots,
advertise it.
what do you think?
Yeah, let's wait to advertise.
What's
Okay,
that?
we're gonna.
We'll wait to advertise.
Wait, okay.
Okay. All right, we were also going to continue grants priorities discussion, but I think we had some discuss, are there other areas that anyone else was thinking about since our last meeting in,
Nothing new.
December?
I don't have anything new.
okay. So I think I had discussed looking at our EMS grants in the same vein of a $50,000 round, and that would start in the second quarter. So I think depending on what comes in our next payment, we should be on target with that. And we'll also have a deposit of a check in April or May. And those funds would still be distributed on a quarterly basis rather than on a rolling basis. So we will vote on all those in one swoop rather than on a monthly basis. Does that make sense, Ron?
That's okay.
Okay, yeah, all right. Anything else? Moving on to new business. Make a motion to reimburse Stephen Roots $100 for estimated. Oh, did we do this?
We did do this.
Okay. I withdraw that motion due to a clerical error. Do I have to vote on, do I have to ask for that, Frank?
I'm not sure what the clerical error was.
Oh, never mind.
It's a non-motion.
It's
motion.
on the agenda.
Well, I see the not new business. I was following there, but I'm,
That was repeated from the last meeting.
oh, okay. Well,
I withdraw this motion due to a clerical error. Anyone opposed? All right, at this time, I'll open the meeting up for public comment. Do we have any public comment?
No public comment at this time.
This time I'll open the meeting up for authority comments. Any comments from the authority?
I have had a conversation with our auditor. We are going to start preparing for the 2023 audit now. So just make sure we have all our numbers right. We anticipate that the timetable with the county as far as receiving our information is the same. So that's it for the auditor. Any questions there?
No.
No.
I do have another item I do need to add to the agenda, and this was a slight oversight by me. I make a motion to adopt the grant agreement, the tentative grant agreement that was provided by the county and revised by myself and our solicitor. Does anyone object to that being added to the agenda?
Nope.
Do I have a second of that motion?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Make a
Well-
comment. Yeah, go ahead. Ron.
So I think it was paragraph 1, which we talked about Exhibit A, which to me seems so open. I mean, I understand the point of specifics of it's not just for your organization, it's for this specifically that your program that you're running. But it seems so open-ended. I was wondering if we could just delete that. Or just on it. So how this, I mean, I understand how we're using this form, but I guess I'm a little ambiguous on how it'll be customized. I mean, is customized envisioned at all besides Exhibit A? And if so, can we just kind of say we'll customize paragraph 1 if it's not just for your organization, whatever you're doing, it's for a specific thing that your organization.
Well,
is
I think
doing.
Exhibit A will be denoted on the letter that Stefan typically writes to the grantees. We'll just kind of signify that as Exhibit A. So he writes a congratulate. I mean, some of it's redundant to a certain extent. the letter he writes is a little bit more warm, friendly, personal, if you want to call it that. This is more of a legal agreement. So we'll have his letter be Exhibit A, which kind of defines reinstates what they said that they're going to use to grant funds
This is for this thing that you asked for.
Right.
To do.
This is specifically
Yeah,
what you
okay.
said, yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand your question about the formality, but this was recommended by the county controller for us to adopt for adherence to laws, ethics, regulations, that type of stuff.
But it'll just be used prospectively. We don't have to go back to all prior grantees.
No. I would probably say as soon as county council approves the grants that we approved today, we'll start to add that with this. We'll start to add that with his letter that he sends out. And we may do it proactively. We may have them submit this before they get the check.
That's what it says.
Yeah. Is that all right with you, Stefan?
Fine,
Okay.
more stamps.
Scan it and email it. Yeah, they could scan it and yeah, they don't have to mail it. Yeah.
That's correct.
Any additional questions or comments?
Course vector comments.
While we're still working on this.
No.
All those in favor of adopting this grant agreement, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. Grant agreement adopted. All right, additional comments continued.
I was going to give an update on course vector. We've already said that we're potentially going to do some payments in advance. The only other way to stay on time with a monthly bill is to issue a check at every meeting. So that's logistically probably a smarter thing to do, either quarterly or semi-annually, to pay the $150 monthly fee in advance. So we're in that strange situation where they move to a different server or something. At the same time, we got notice that we were late on our payment. So I thought by speeding up the payment, cleared it with our chair, that it would bring the site back so we could point it. They when they sent the email that it's moved, they sent a new IP address to point. But on 2 occasions, one through the original ticket that says, "Oh, you're late, you're going to be suspended," or actually that said you are suspended. My response was, give me a call, because they don't seem to have a direct phone number there. There may be one, I just haven't dug far enough. I did not receive a call from them. And for those of you who've tried to access the site, I think you get the same form that I do, that once name, contact information, and there's a space for remarks. I've remarked, the same thing. The payment's been made. We're not up yet. Give me a call. Haven't received a call in either sense. I haven't checked the site today. Has anyone checked the site today? I don't think anyone has. Let's do it while we're speaking, because we
I don't know if it'll work on my phone.
I'm getting the.
So is there a way to do you know if they'll do direct debit from our checking account, or they just do, you have to send in a manual check or pay by credit card? Are those the only payment options?
They weren't too open to the direct payment,
Okay.
and the site is, got the same thing. So I'm gonna have to dig into the contract itself. I think there were some phone numbers, somewhere, some contact information, just to get our
Have our
site.
checks been endorsed? Did you check the bank account today to see if they were endorsed and cash? Because you said you mailed it, but that doesn't mean that they.
No, they weren't mailed. They were,
Oh, no, you paid by
payment.
card.
right,
Oh, that's right.
with receipts. So that's
Okay.
why I was kind of expecting a speedier turnaround.
Right. Okay.
So we're still up in the air with them.
Okay.
I think, I know we're going to work it out. It's just a matter of logistics, communication.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything malicious or scandalous here.
Okay. So they're paid up through January right now.
Yes,
So at the next meeting, we may propose that we pay them quarterly and, semi-annually, and we would pay them essentially 6 months in advance, possibly.
Correct.
Okay.
And I will confirm the payment schedule. Although I should by now, I don't know if we're paying at the beginning of the month for the month, or if we're expected to pay in 30 days. I want to know what their cutoff is, but
Okay.
it is troubling to get these emails and it's like, you're down, you're off. Ooh, the check's in the mail, or, whatever.
Okay.
They're not at all flexible. They just seem to be whatever their timetable is, which I will come back to you and tell you exactly what it is to avoid just being down. We don't want to have that look out there. We've got documents we need to get up there, especially if we're going to do some new grantees. So we got the website. We want it to be up. This is not the way we want to, continue. And let's say for 2023, let's give it an extra oomph. In 2023, we're not going to be shut down all year. That's the goal.
Well, thank you for working on that. It's, in addition to your duties as treasurer, you've been great with, stationery, with website, email, and all those other things. So we do appreciate it. And I know, this is a volunteer organization. We don't have an executive director. I think people think we have an executive director, but we're, a small dog and pony show, if you want to call it that, whatever. Mom and pop shop. Yeah, I'll call it that. That's a little bit better.
We can't make Mr. Lazarus our executive director.
No,
by
I think
default,
he's got
no?
enough on his plate.
Okay.
But I just want to thank everyone for their trust in me to lead this authority again. It's been a pleasure for me, and I hope I can do a job that makes you proud. And I'm always open to ideas. You see that there were different opinions, and I put them all out there. So I try and be as transparent and open as possible, and we still respect each other when we disagree, right? So that's the way a functioning board and authority should work, and appreciate all viewpoints from this authority. Any
Thank
other?
you, and you're doing a great job.
Oh,
Keep
thank
it
you,
up.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, you guys make me look a lot better than I am, so I appreciate it. Any other questions or comments?
You did a check presentation this week?
I'm doing one today
Oh, it's
to
tonight.
Sharon Hill.
Okay. I wish I could go to that one.
Agricultural Commission
Right.
tonight at
Yeah.
7. There were some checks that were approved by I believe they were approved by county council last night on the consent agenda. So I may have received an email from their secretary today informing me of that. If they are, then Stefan and I will reach out to them. I'll make them aware that they were awarded the grants and see if they would like the opportunity for a presentation. And I will make the authority aware of those if they like to go, as well as our county council counterparts.
Well, those will be the first ones to get this letter then.
Excuse me?
They will be the first ones to get the letter in front of you on the right.
Agreement?
The ones that were approved by county council last night, yes.
Okay.
So it may be a longer process between the time that county council approves them to when they actually get the check. Because you're gonna have to wait for this to come back to you. And then if they don't want a presentation, you'll have to send them the traditional letter with the check. If they do want the presentation, depending on how quickly they can do it, we'll physically take the check to them along with the, kind of like what we've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at approximately 2:56. Thank you.